On the final afternoon of Royal Ascot 2025, Queen Camilla arrived in black and white, as tradition demands. But for those who watch royal jewellery closely, the real interest sat just below her left shoulder, a substantial diamond bow suspending a round floral pendant that was, on closer inspection, a tiny watch. Commentators recognised it quickly. This was the Rothschild Diamond Watch Brooch, a wedding gift to Mary of Teck in 1893 from Alice de Rothschild of the British branch of the banking dynasty. Its reappearance, after almost 90 years out of public view, does more than add another piece to Queen Camilla's collection. It illuminates a long, careful courtship that played out not between two individuals, but between a Jewish banking family and the Christian monarchies of Europe. And this was not an isolated gift. It was part of a pattern. Today, we explore how the Rothschild dynasty quietly placed jewels inside the British and Norwegian royal families, and what those gifts truly meant. By the later 19th century, the Rothschilds were no longer upstarts trying to edge into society. They were, in many countries, part of the structure that upheld it. From a Frankfurt ghetto house marked by a red shield, zum Roten Schild, the family had expanded into 5 branches: Frankfurt, Vienna, London, Paris, and Naples. Their coat of arms symbolized this unity, 5 arrows grasped in a single fist. Their services as financiers to governments and sovereigns were rewarded with honors. In 1822, the brothers were made Austrian barons. In Britain, Anthony de Rothschild was created a baronet in 1847, and Nathaniel became the first Baron Rothschild in 1885. They were, in legal terms, the equals of the aristocrats who had once looked at them askance. Social acceptance was more complex. Queen Victoria's court, especially after Prince Albert's death, was formal and somewhat closed. Her heir, Albert Edward, Prince of Wales, Bertie, moved in freer circles. This network of aristocrats, wealthy industrialists, artists, and entertainers formed a kind of rival court around the Waleses, centred on Marlborough House and weekend house parties. Contemporary descriptions of this set explicitly place the Rothschilds among its cultural leaders. The relationship was not purely social. The Prince and Princess of Wales were regular guests at Rothschild country houses, at Waddesdon Manor in Buckinghamshire, and at Holton, Alfred de Rothschild's seat. Conversely, Rothschild weddings and entertainments were attended by royal guests. The Rothschild Archives account of the 1881 wedding of Leopold de Rothschild and Marie Perugia makes a quiet but telling point. Newspapers noted the presence of the Prince of Wales at what was, importantly, his first Jewish marriage ceremony. Against that background, it is less surprising to find Rothschild names appearing in royal wedding gift lists. What is striking is how carefully many of those gifts were chosen and what they suggest about the family's sense of how far they could and could not go in presenting jewels to Europe's hereditary rulers. This was about belonging, about legitimacy, about permanence, and the jewels themselves would become the evidence. Queen Mary's Rothschild gifts. In July 1893, Princess Mary of Teck married the Duke of York, the future George V, at the Chapel Royal, St. James's Palace. The jewellery haul was substantial: 3 tiaras, 15 necklaces, 26 bracelets, and 44 brooches were among the pieces exhibited at the Imperial Institute after the wedding. Among the brooches and smaller ornaments, several entries refer to gifts from Alice de Rothschild, the formidable mistress of Waddesdon Manor. The most important for our purposes is described in period newspapers as a diamond watch from Alice de Rothschild on a 3-ribbon bow, 12 diamonds between. Royal jewellery specialists have long connected this description with the substantial diamond bow brooch seen on Mary of Teck in early 20th century photographs, and now re-identified in 2025 on Queen Camilla. The jewel is composed of a sculptural three-loop bow in diamonds, from which hangs a short diamond chain supporting a circular pendant in the form of a stylized Tudor rose. The pendant's center opens to reveal a tiny watch. The cluster of stones around it acts as both case and decorative frame. The jewel operates at several levels. On the surface, it is thoroughly in tune with 1890s taste. Bows were fashionable motifs, and the combination of a decorative jewel with a watch was both modern and practical. The Tudor rose form sits comfortably in a vocabulary of dynastic symbols, but is discreet enough for a private citizen to offer without presumption. At a deeper level, a diamond watch from a Rothschild donor to a future queen could hardly fail to be read, at least by those in the know, as a nod to punctuality, order, and reliability. Victorian commentators admired Miss Alice as a meticulous, if somewhat exacting, housekeeper. In the same years, the Rothschilds' reputation in finance rested on their absolute dependability. A jewel that quite literally keeps time, and that can easily be read on the wearer's breast during long court functions, feels entirely in character. The later life of the brooch is unusually well documented. Mary wore the full watch and bow combination during an early Commonwealth tour in 1901 and later separated the bow for wear on its own. At some point before 1936, she passed the piece to her daughter-in-law, then Duchess of York. A photograph from that year shows Elizabeth wearing the watch brooch for a visit to a Scottish exhibition, the pendant standing out clearly against a dark jacket. After decades in the background, it resurfaced on Queen Camilla at Royal Ascot in 2025. Its provenance explicitly identified by several well-researched jewellery outlets. But the watch brooch was not Alice de Rothschild's only gift. The same compilation of Mary's wedding gifts lists two further Rothschild-connected items. The first appears to have been a combination of a small diamond-set perfume bottle and a lover's knot jewel. The second, a dark pearl and diamond pendant brooch from Lord and Lady Rothschild, presumably of the English branch. Both are described in contemporary press reports, but their later history is obscure. Some modern commentators have suggested that the true lover's knot in diamonds could be the origin of one of the bow-form brooches in the royal collection, but without an unbroken chain of photographs or a royal collection catalogue entry, this remains speculative. Taken together, however, these entries establish a small cluster of Rothschild to Mary gifts. They sit alongside the better-known offerings from royal relatives, counties, and civic bodies, yet they are unusual in pairing overt luxury, diamonds and large pearls, with relational motifs, bows, knots, hearts. They are personal, not institutional presents. And they are gifts that speak a language of sentiment and fidelity, qualities that a banking family, seeking acceptance in a world that still harbored suspicion, would have been wise to emphasize. Why did some survive prominently while others faded? The answer may be as simple as fashion, or as complex as the shifting tides of royal favor. But the watch brooch's survival, and its dramatic reappearance, suggests that the most carefully chosen gifts have a way of enduring. Maud of Wales, a second royal bride. 3 years later, the Rothschild name appeared again on a royal wedding list, this time for a princess who would end her life as a queen in another country. Princess Maud of Wales, youngest daughter of the Prince and Princess of Wales, married Prince Carl of Denmark on 22 July 1896 in the private chapel at Buckingham Palace. Contemporary accounts of her wedding dress and ornaments emphasize their refinement rather than extravagance. White Spitalfield silk, a deep belt embroidered with silver and diamonds, a veil of old lace from Queen Victoria. The gifts, however, were plentiful. Among the entries are 3 firmly attributable to Rothschild donors. Diamond brooch, Louis C's bow in diamonds and pearls, or love knot brooch or pendant from Lord and Lady Rothschild. pendant star ornamented with diamonds and with rubies of exceptionally dark tint from Miss Alice Rothschild. And a diamond tiara, the Vifte Tiara, from Mr. Alfred de Rothschild and Mr. and Mrs. Leopold de Rothschild, made by Boucheron. The first item corresponds well with a description noting that among Maud's presents were 2 diamond and pearl brooches, one from Baron Rothschild and his wife, the other from the Draper's Company. The Draper's brooch is separately identified. By elimination, the Rothschild piece is the Louis XVI style bow in diamonds and pearls. Stylistically, the description Louis C's bow situates the jewel in the late 18th century revival then fashionable. Ribbon-like diamond bows with subtle curves, often set with pearls at the center and sometimes designed to be worn as either brooch or pendant. Photographs of Maud as Queen of Norway show her wearing a substantial diamond bow with a large central pearl and pendant drop. Modern writers, including the Royal Watcher, routinely refer to this as Queen Maud's Rothschild Pearl Bow Brooch and connect it with the 1896 wedding gift from Lord and Lady Rothschild. That identification is plausible and widely accepted among specialists, but it rests on visual comparison rather than an explicit archival label. What is clear is that Maud wore the bow brooch on important state occasions. The coronation of her parents, Edward VII and Alexandra, in 1902, and her own coronation in Norway in 1906, both saw her adorned with a prominent bow at her neckline. After Maud's death in 1938, and a period during which many of her jewels remained in Britain, the brooch re-entered the Norwegian royal collection. In the later 20th and early 21st centuries, it has been worn frequently by Princess Astrid, Maud's granddaughter, who favours substantial brooches for state occasions. The second Rothschild gift, the ruby and diamond star pendant from Alice Rothschild, is more elusive. It is tentatively suggested that it may later have been owned by Princess Astrid of Norway, but this is presented as probable rather than proven. Without a clear line of photographic evidence, this must remain an intriguing footnote rather than a secure attribution. The third of Maud's Rothschild gifts, and perhaps the most evocative, is the small diamond tiara listed as a diamond tiara, the Vifte Tiara, from Mr. Alfred de Rothschild and Mr. and Mrs. Leopold de Rothschild, made by Boucheron. The word Vifte means fan in Norwegian. The name was applied later, once the jewel was part of Norway's royal collection. The tiara itself is composed of delicate diamond elements arranged in a fan or radiating spray, with small floral and scroll motifs. It is designed to be convertible. It can be worn as a low tiara or as a necklace, in line with a broader turn-of-the-century taste for adaptable parures. For many years, writers assumed that the fan tiara had been a wedding present from Queen Victoria. More recently, research by Vincent Malin and others, synthesized in articles by the Court Jeweller and Tiara Mania, has argued convincingly that the piece is identical with the small tiara coronet in form of a fan of diamonds recorded in 1896 as a gift from Alfred de Rothschild and Leopold and Marie de Rothschild. The donor names, the description of the form, and the absence of any other fan-shaped tiara in Maud's documented trousseau together make a strong circumstantial case. The Rothschilds' choice here is telling. Unlike the pearl and diamond tiara from Maud's parents, which was a substantial high-rising diadem, the Vifte Tiara is modest in scale. It sits low on the head, more suitable for dinners and smaller court functions than for coronations. A private banking family could safely give such a jewel without rivaling the sovereign's own presence. At the same time, the fact that it came from 3 donors, Alfred and Leopold, both prominent in the English branch, and Leopold's wife Marie, reinforces the sense of a family offering. As Queen Sonja of Norway has worn the tiara in modern times, she has sometimes paired it with other Maud jewels, subtly underlining its place in that line of descent. In 2001, the jewel was passed on to Crown Princess Mette-Marit as a bridal gift from King Harold and Queen Sonja. She wore it in its necklace form for a dinner on the eve of her wedding. In that moment, a piece conceived in the circles of Marlborough House and New Court became embedded in the ritual life of a Scandinavian monarchy. Pattern and strategy. Step back for a moment. What do these gifts have in common? They are personal rather than state regalia. Wedding presents from private individuals, not crown jewels inherited through conquest or succession. They are of high quality, but carefully scaled. The Vifte Tiara sits lower than Maud's parental gift. The watch brooch, though intricate, cannot rival the tiaras from Queen Victoria or the County of Surrey. The Rothschilds did not attempt to outshine the sovereign. The motifs repeat: bows, knots, fans. These speak of sentiment and sociability, not heraldic power. They emphasize personal connection rather than dynastic claim. Many pieces are convertible. The Vifte Tiara becomes a necklace. The watch brooch separates into components. This flexibility suggests the Rothschilds understood how royal women actually wore jewelry and wanted their gifts used, not stored. And remarkably, these pieces have survived. The watch brooch reappeared after 90 years. The Vifte Tiara remains in Norway's working collection. The bow brooch is worn by Princess Astrid at state occasions. This is strategy, not accident. Acceptance in the highest circles required more than wealth. It required taste, restraint, and symbolic literacy. The Rothschilds chose gifts that would signal reliability and permanence, qualities a banking family, still navigating prejudice, needed to project. And it worked. These jewels became part of the visual vocabulary of monarchy itself. When Queen Camilla wore the Rothschild Diamond Watch Brooch at Royal Ascot in 2025, most observers saw a beautiful ornament returning to public view. But the piece carries a longer story. A Jewish banking family, excluded from many institutions in the 19th century, placed this jewel and others into the hands of Christian queens. And those jewels remained. They were worn, passed down, and worn again. The watch motif is particularly apt. Time was what the Rothschilds needed most. Time for contributions to be recognized. Time for gifts to become heirlooms. Time for acceptance to move from conditional to assumed. The brooch's reappearance is not a rediscovery. It is evidence of continuity, of objects that outlast the prejudices of their moment, of a family that understood patience as a form of power. When Camilla pinned it to her shoulder, she was not making a statement about the Rothschilds. But the jewel itself makes one. Jewels do not argue, they simply persist. The Rothschild gifts to Mary of Teck and Maud of Wales were not grand gestures. They were calibrated offerings that acknowledged social boundaries while quietly testing them. Today, the watch brooch sits in the British Royal Collection. The Vifte Tiara is part of Norway's crown jewels. The bow brooches appear at state occasions. These are working heirlooms, not museum relics. The watch, ticking quietly beneath its diamonds, embodies the strategy perfectly. The Rothschilds understood that acceptance could not be forced. It required patience, precision, and the willingness to measure success across generations. Private gifts became public history, objects outlasted politics, and a family once viewed with suspicion became woven into the fabric of European monarchy, one carefully chosen jewel at a time. Which of these Rothschild jewels interests you most? The watch brooch, absent for nearly 90 years, the Vifte Tiara, now part of Norway's royal heritage, or the bow brooches, still worn at state occasions? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this exploration of jewelry as social strategy resonated with you, please consider liking this video. It helps others find these stories. And if you'd like to join me for future examinations of how royal jewelry illuminates power, diplomacy, and acceptance, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time.